My name is Sidek Abbas. I'm the Managing Director at Abbas Business Brokers. My background is actually in corporate. I used to work as a strategy manager at one of the big four banks for a number of years. I was doing quite well there, but I thought to myself that I've got a lot more to offer and a lot more to give, and potentially running a business might be the way to go. So I decided to buy a business, and after a very short period, I flipped that business and sold out of it. Academically, I'm a licensed real estate agent. I'm a licensed finance and mortgage broker, and I have an MBA. So I was quite qualified when it came to sort of reviewing these businesses that I wanted to buy. But even so, it was a very complex process. Ultimately, I set up Abbas Business Brokers, where we can help people go through this process and just guide them through both the buy side and sale side. So in terms of the type of businesses that we sell, we've got a range of businesses at the moment, and we've got brokers that specialize in different industries and they've got different skill sets. We have 3 MBAs in our business at the moment. So we've got brokers that are very, very finance heavy. They'll specialize in the businesses that are heavily reliant on the P&L and other financials. And we've got other brokers that have a big database of network, whether it's domestic or international. We have one broker that speaks 8 different languages. So he knows quite a number of different people, and we typically match the broker with the right type of business. So at the moment, we've got everything from sort of hospitality to retail, manufacturing, professional services. But if I had to pick one that we're specializing in at this given point in time, it would probably be the retail and hospitality space. But really anything in the SME space in Australia, especially in Victoria, Queensland and Tasmania, we've got the capacity and the qualifications as well as the experience to take on at the moment. The thing that's unique about our brokerage in terms of helping clients sell and buy businesses is our customer experience that we provide people. One of the big things that made me set up this business is because I wanted to provide exceptional customer service in this very complex process of purchasing and selling businesses. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is if a customer reaches out to us from one of our listings, we'll get back in touch with them immediately. Whether it's a weekend, a weeknight, public holiday, whatever it might be, help them understand that they need to sign an NDA and why that is, and subsequently provide them the right level of information at the right time, and subsequently help them really understand the sale of the business. So, a vendor knows that if they're listing a multi-million-dollar business with us and someone inquires, we pick up the phone immediately. Ultimately we represent the seller of the business. That's how we get paid as brokers, but we really need to help the buyer as well through the process. So we really need to help the buyer understand what they're getting and the opportunities that they can take from having that business. So by helping the buyer through that process, that's what's ultimately helped us to, really succeed and get really good quality results over the years as well. Some of the benefits of using a broker is they save a substantial amount of time. Their success fee goes towards ultimately negotiating them the best possible price. The broker knows what type of buyer to look for, as well as they've got a really, extensive database of qualified buyers that they've been working with who they can match with your business potentially as well. So we've got, thousands of people in our database who are qualified looking for certain types of businesses. So when someone comes to us and says, I've got a manufacturing business within $3 million, in Melbourne eastern suburbs, we already have a database of people that want to buy that type of business. So the benefit of using a broker is you leverage that database immediately, and we've already spoken to those buyers, been working with them very closely to find the right business for them. So we've built that trust and rapport with the buyer. And ultimately, as opposed to going to market yourself and trying to sell the business yourself, these are the things that you benefit from. When we work with a new vendor, the number one thing that we want to understand is we want to learn their business inside out. So we need to understand the business as if it's our own. That's the best way to sell it. As well as that, we need to really hone down on their goals, their ultimate goals. So the goals for the vendor is not ultimately always to get the best possible price. It might be to have certain conditions as part of the sale. It might be a certain exit strategy that they want. So it's just really important to understand their goals, both financially and otherwise, as well as just really doing a deep dive into their business. That way we can strategically market their business to the right buyer that suits their goals as well. The advice that I would give to someone who's thinking about selling their business is approach a broker and do it as soon as possible. So you might be thinking of selling a business in 12 months' time or 24 months' time. Always wise to approach a broker immediately and just get that advice. The reason for that is because the business might not actually be prepared for sale. So we have a lot of people come up to us and say, I need the business sold at the moment, right now, immediately. And that business is not prepared for sale. And we sometimes give them advice to set that up for sale. And that could take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to position it for a good quality sale. So, the earlier that they reach out to a broker, the worst case scenario is that the broker will advise them that, you can come back to us in 12 months time when you're ready. Your business is actually ready for sale. Best case scenario, we give them a pathway and a sort of a roadmap as to what they can do from now until when the business is listed for sale. So it's always best to approach the broker as early as possible. So one of the biggest mistakes that we see business owners make when they're trying to sell is they go to sell their business when they're too desperate and it's almost too late. So they give us a couple of months and say, we need the business sold immediately. And that's fine, we can do that, but it doesn't help achieve the best possible outcome for them. So just, approaching a broker a bit too late is going to prevent them from getting their best possible price. The other mistake that they often make is that silence kills deals. And there's a lot of business owners that don't provide us the full information or don't provide the full picture to the buyer. Ultimately, that scares off the buyer. It doesn't give them the transparency that they're looking for. And that sort of prevents them from buying the business. As well as another mistake that they make is that they don't have a clear exit strategy. So they have a business, they don't know how to exit it, they don't have a plan for how to exit it, and they just go to sell it and they just hope for the best, right? So these are the kind of things that at Basta we help prepare for them before we actually list the business for sale, to prevent some of those major mistakes. I'd say the most challenging aspect of managing buyer and seller expectation is probably pricing. So realistic pricing is a really key aspect in the sale of a business. A lot of the business owners, especially because it's their own business, it's their baby, they're very emotional about it. They believe that their business is valued a lot higher than what it actually is. So just managing that expectation with them and just helping them understand that this is the reality of it and this is the value of your business, the true value of your business today, is quite a big challenge. And on the flip side, for the buyer, just helping them really understand and learn about the financials, because a lot of the information that we get from business owners is not 100% reflected in the financials because it's just not as black and white as that. So it's about educating the buyer about, what to look for and why things are the way they are. We work really, really closely with the buyer to just help them understand, what every single line item means, how it came about, how it's actually relevant to them, as well as helping the seller just really learn what the fair value of their business is. Some of the examples to try and get a business prepared for sale is to clean up the financials. So a lot of the P&Ls or financials that we look at, it's not quite reflecting what's actually happening in the business. So we need to be in a position to clean that up. And that takes time. That takes a few months to sort of clean up the financials. There might also be an opportunity to benefit from some restructures, minor restructures or changes within the business. There might be some movement that happens within the staff or employment, whether it's subcontractors becoming employees or whatever else it might be. And it might just be a physical clean of the business as well, right? So whether it's a physical clean of the inventory or setting it up in that nature, as well as just making sure financials are really, really clean, and so that when the prospective buyer comes in and inquires about it and they look at the financials for the last 12, 24, 36 months, it actually reflects what's happening in the business rather than not sharing the same story. Look, we sell businesses anywhere from the tens of thousands all the way up to the millions of dollars. I would say the standout sale for me personally was actually probably the cheapest one, or one of the cheapest ones that I ever sold. It was a $40,000 hospitality business last year. And the reason that was a standout sale is because when I initially met the vendor of the business and they told me about their requirements, they were desperate to sell. They were in major financial distress. They had some quite substantial liabilities and they just needed to really sell their business and just get the liabilities off their hand. Ultimately the effort that the team put through on that business and myself was no different than the effort that we would put through for a $4.5 million business. And ultimately we got a really favorable outcome for the seller. And the way that we did that was just really help the buyer understand what they're buying and an opportunity for them to be able to grow that business and take advantage of an opportunity to flip that business in the future as well. So ultimately it was a win-win situation where the buyer got a really good opportunity to take over an existing business, and the seller got the outcome they wanted in a really, really, fast period of time. So just seeing the seller ultimately be so happy with our service and just have that emotional relief and just that, excitement about selling their business, that's what got us, really, really excited. And that's what gets me out of bed in the morning every day. Personally, I just really love the fact that we're able to provide that service no matter what size business it is.